YouTube. My name's Aaron, and today we're going to talk about consoles, and more specifically, we're going to be talking about the Xbox 4K. It's not likely that it's going to be named the Xbox 4K, but because it will be the 4th generation Xbox, and it could support 4K, they could just go ahead and label it the Xbox 4K. I think it rings. I like it. It's not been announced yet. If that name ever comes up, you know who started it right here. So what we're going to talk about is the importance in 4K and gaming, more specifically in console gaming. Now, I already did a video like this before. If I can remember, I will link it down below. But today, I really want to talk about what kind of stipulations come when going to 4K and when I think it's going to happen. So let's go ahead and knock one thing out of the room. When do I think the entire industry standard is going to change from 1080p 60 to 4K? 2018, 2020, right there in that range of dates. I think it's going to change. Technology is just advancing too rapidly for it to stay at 1080p 60. I know 1080p 60 is beautiful, and if all things go according as planned, you're going to be watching this in 1080p 60, but it's not perfect. 1080p 60 looks really, really good, but 4K looks really, really better. It's just about 4 times the amount as 1080p, so just go figure. It looks amazing. Now, the problem with that is that it takes a hefty GPU to be able to render and run 4K 60 content, especially video games where stuff changes all the time. I mean, look at my screen, I'm spinning around in circles, bullets are whizzing past my head. Something's got to be able to render that, and the problem with putting a high-end graphics card in a console is that consoles are relatively cheap. I know relatively cheap is a broad statement because cheap to some people could be like 20, 50 bucks, and to others could be a couple of thousand on a new gaming machine. Now, relatively cheap is around the $300 to $500 market. That's where consoles like to stay. So making a machine that's 4K 60 frames a second playable is going to be very expensive and hard to make that about 3 to 4 500 bucks budget. It's difficult. I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm just saying more than likely not. But you might be sitting there thinking like, hey, there's a ton of stuff that's 4K that is cheap. Yes, 4K does exist that is very cheap. We're not even talking about the monitors. We're just talking about the outputs that can produce it. So integrated graphics can produce 4K. It's very possible, but with one limitation, and that is 30 frames per second, which is not good for gaming. If you want to see what 30 frames per second looks like when playing a game like Call of Duty, go ahead, purchase yourself an Xbox 360 or PlayStation 3 and buy Black Ops 3 and just hope your eyes do not bleed because, wow, it's bad. But aside from that, let's talk about what else is involved in switching an industry standard to 1080 or to 4K from 1080p 60. Monitors, TVs. I want to know down below right now, how many people have a 4K TV or a 4K monitor in their house? I mean, don't lie. It's alright if you don't have one. I don't think I do. No, I don't, actually. But, I don't really need a 4K right now. I think I'm doing quite fine as it is without a 4K, but I would love to have a 4K. I'm actually looking into getting some 4K TVs, or at least one, because I think that'd be really cool. But the thing about that is, they're very expensive, like the cheapest TV kind of alternative 4K that you can get that will still be able to play video games because of the gray to grayscale is like $700. Very expensive, almost double what our target is for a console. So you got to keep that in mind. It wasn't but like 3 or 4 years ago that a lot of people started getting 1080p screens into their house. I mean, for real. Right now, think back to like 2012 or 2010, like 6 years ago. Did you have a flat screen in your house? Actually, that's dumb because there wasn't that many out back then, but let's think a little bit sooner. Think about whenever Black Ops 1 came out. I can't remember the date at all. Were you playing on a 1080p flat screen? I mean, you could have been playing on a flat screen, but it was probably plasma and like 480i or 720i, not P. Don't want to get into the difference of those this video, but getting everyone to a 4K point is very hard. Now, one thing that making a console that can play 4K would do is make companies lower their prices. So basically, it works out like this. You get a console and it's like, hey, I can do 4K on this. My monitor's not 4K, my TVs aren't 4K. I want to see what it's like. And you go out and buy a 4K monitor. Same way with like the Xbox original to the Xbox 360. There's like, oh, there's AV cables, audio video cables. Wonder how good the HDMI looks, and then you go out and buy an HDMI TV. So that was just my 2 cents on this. I know it was a little bit of a rant. Xbox 4K, I'm the first. Let me know what you think down below. Don't forget to sub, like, comment, share. Let your friends know, let your class know. Tell your teacher about me. Peace.